it's Bridgette. Hi. How are you? Oh boy, hello. Whoa, look at this crazy light. What is up with the lighting here? Okay, I gotta kind of turn my head or what? Oh, you guys, I ran into town and I got a coffee again from our place that we went the other day for our nature walk. That was so nice. And so I had to get the gingerbread mocha latte made with almond milk. It's super good. You'd think the almond milk might change the flavoring. I think it's good. It's good stuff. So I had to come into town because I have my mask and everything. Don't worry about that. See my mask? Yeah, one of my masks. I have like 3. Do you guys have like multiple masks? Yeah, I have another one too. Here's my other one. Minnie Mouse, of course. Mickey Mouse mask, courtesy of my sister. Gave that to me. I have another one here too that a friend made for me. Actually, I have 2 more. I have like 3, 4, 5. Actually, I also have extras for the kids when they go. Mask galore. Hi, nice to see you. So I came into town. Oh my gosh, what is with, I can't even, look at this. I look like a bad video, MTV. Whoa! People are looking at me like I'm crazy because they're driving down the street and I'm making faces. I'm a little crazy, but we won't tell them. I went to the post office to mail something. And I waited in line, and the ladies are very nice there. And I waited, and turns out that the address is screwy. It's a weird address thing, and they don't recognize it. They tried it multiple different ways, and I thought it was a weird address myself, but I asked, and when I wrote the address down, I asked the person again, and they said, well, write it like this. And so I did, and the post office won't even they just won't take it. So, I don't know. So I gotta give her another go. So that's why. It's not like I'm out and about all the time. I just want to be clear on that. I'm kind of a homebody. Whether there's some kind of a viral alien encounters, whatever's happening, I am not. I'm not usually an out and about kind of person anyway. Let's just be honest. I like my own space. But so this is so cool. So I'm sitting here and I did a little video about this to put on Instagram at Bridgette Inspired on Instagram, because I saw this car. I came out of the coffee shop and I saw this really cool car. It's actually a Jeep, like a 4-door Jeep, like a Jeep Cherokee, but 4 doors, kind of thing. An old school type. And it's very boxy. And I'm describing it because I don't think I can flip the phone around to show you. It's like this cool blue color. It's this beautiful blue. It's not dark. It's not light. It's like a throat chakra kind of, oh gosh, it's just such a beautiful blue. It's just so beautiful. It's so, okay, guys, just love I'm just sitting here looking at it. I love it. And I thought I had this question. I thought, I wonder how long it would take before I got sick of that car. Like the color. Like if you get a car that's like a unique color, how long does it take for you to get sick of it, And I thought, well, we don't get sick of like a red car or a black car or whatever. Why would we get sick of something beautiful and blue like that? I got to show it to you. It's really nice. Let me see if I can do this. I don't know if I can. I think I can. I'm going to try to turn this around. So hang on. Okay, hang on. Oh, yeah, there we go. You see it? Do you see that blue car right there? See that? Isn't that the coolest thing? And I gotta be honest, it doesn't really come through very well in the video. Look at that. Isn't that the coolest car ever? Yeah, see, a silver car. I wouldn't get a silver car unless I had to. But not really my color, I guess. But reminds me of my grandparents. They always had silver cars. I don't know. Maybe that's a judgment. Oh, yes, it is a judgment. Oh, yes, do I have an opinion? Oh, yeah, I got a few. Would you drive a car like that? Well, I know. Like, if you won it in a sweepstakes, of course, you're going to drive anything, right? That's brand new and paid for. Yeah, okay. But what about, would you buy one like that? Like, you're buying a brand new car, You're spending like 30 grand, 30 freaking grand is how much you spend on cars nowadays. At least I know, because we had to buy one this summer. It was the first car in, how many years was it? 13, 12 years that we bought, like brand new. And so I know it's spendy, so it's a lot of money a month that you're putting out. But look at that. Isn't that the most beautiful color? You guys, I love it. Can you just see it? Like when I have to retire my old Betty, my psychic minivan. Oh, love Betty. You just love Betty. This old girl has got me through so much. I just love her so much. Oh, I just love her. So many kidalooties and all that. All my kids and just love her. She's very reliable. And so I am thinking, if I get a new car, would I get a car like that? I think I would get a creative color car, because then you know what, you guys? I bet you anything the kids would not ask to borrow it. Does it, anybody that's watching live, do you guys have kids? Do you totally get what I'm saying here? Oh, look, so this black car is moving so we can get a really good look. Look at that, you guys. Oh, I kind of like that. Now, this particular vehicle itself, this Jeep Cherokee, Jeep Wrangler thing, whatever it really is, Jeep, I wouldn't buy myself this actual brand of car, because I've test drove one of these before. I thought I wanted one like 100 years ago, like, you know, when I had my first real job out of college and I had some money to like buy a real car and have real car payments and all that. Why are we in such a hurry to have real car payments? Just, that doesn't even sound like fun. But anyway, so I had a test drive of, oh, no, don't park in front. Oh, really? Now, what color car is that? That's kind of like one of those, it's kind of like a mocha. Okay, so it's like a smooth Godiva chocolate or a mocha. And here we go, the little red cherry on top right here, this little red cherry on top car. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm being so silly. I'm out of the house. It's like a dog being let out of its kennel. I don't want to go back home right now. I have so much not fun stuff to do this afternoon. I have to. I've been putting off. Oh my God. I have been putting off. Oh, it's your favorite color, blue? Nice. Oh, you have a Jeep Cherokee Sport? Oh, cool. You had it once and you loved it? Oh, good for you. Yeah, a time and a place. They're very bouncy. Very bouncy. Let's just say that. Oh, funny. I've been putting off all day something I really need to do, and that is FAFSA. Does anybody know what the FAFSA is? FSA form. Does anybody know what that is? Has something to do with taxes, has something to do with a lot of filling out paperwork. It has something to do with getting financial aid. Does anybody know what the FAFSA is? Yeah, well, I have a high school senior right now, and I have to fill out that form by December 20th in order to get the first crack at the goods, the first digging my hands in that first bin of financial aid. Is there even such a thing anymore? Let's be honest, there's no financial aid. It's just loans. So the first crack of loans, ladies and gents, the first crack at loans. Isn't that crazy? It's like a big a sale. Everybody, fill this out. Tell us all your information so we can use it. I mean, so we can sell you some loans. It's such a racket, isn't it? Oh, you guys, I think if you followed me for a while, you know that I didn't even pay off my first go round of student loans when I graduated from college in, let's say, the mid to late 90s. Let's just say that, because I want to give you a little bit of a window. I don't want to totally divulge my age, you know. Gotta like some mystery there, right? The mid to late 90s, let's say. That's when I graduated with my bachelor's degrees. And I double did it, so I went for an extra year. So I got like a couple bachelors. And not because I didn't know what I wanted, just because I knew what I wanted and I wanted both of them. And so if you've been following my work for a while, in 2014, I finally paid off my student loans. Oh, yes, 20 years it's supposed to take you. Oh, no, it took me longer than that, because you can do this thing called refinancing. so you can pay the damn bills every month. You know, it's over $100 a freaking month just to pay for. And now kids, oh my gosh, you guys probably can relate. Some of you can probably relate personally, and or your kids can relate, or your grandkids can relate. But it's like student loans are like $300, $400, $500 a month. It's like half their house payment, $1,000 a month, whatever, right? It's ridiculous, isn't it? FAFSA. Oh, hey. Hi, nice to see you guys. I don't want to say everybody's names, even though I see all of you. I don't want to say it because I'm going to probably download this and share it as a vlog on Fairy Grasshopper YouTube, which, by the way, I've been vlogging a lot. And by a lot, I mean whenever I feel like it. Oh, it's called something different in Canada. Well, Canada, you guys, oh, I really like your president or prime minister or whatever you call him. He seems so nice. You guys are so lucky. No, I'm not going back to school. But I just talked to my husband about that this morning. How much cheaper, well, not cheaper. How much more financial aid would be available if there were 3 of us in college instead of just 2, but I digress. Anyway, I haven't finished my master's degrees. Okay, so I was just talking to my husband today about how we're talking about like things we wished we'd have done in our lives up to this point. Like we're talking about my son who's like applied for a couple colleges. He has 3 of them that he likes. There's 2 that are probably at the top of his list. 1 is leading the way, and I'm really excited about the one. I'm trying not to influence him. I'm really not. But the one that he's leaning toward, I'm pretty darn happy with. I think it'll be a great fit for him. But I know it's his life. He gets to make his own choices, and I'm totally cool with that. As long as he makes his choice for him, not because he thinks mom wants him to or not because he thinks dad wants him to. So anyway, so I was talking to my husband about this and said how here, let me just switch back to my, oh, the chocolate car's leaving. Bye chocolate car. That's a cute little car. Look at the color of that car. That's so cute. Oh, that's such a cute color. I kind of like it. It's very earthy. It's a Toyota. We've had one Toyota in our family. Now we can see the blue car. Oh, look at how beautiful she is. So beautiful. We've had one Toyota in our family, and it was okay, but it was really cheaply made, let me say. It did a good job for what we needed it to do, but I don't know. I wouldn't have ever bought it or wanted it for myself, even though we bought it new. We just leased it for a couple years for the kids. I wanted something reliable for them because we live out where they have to drive country roads 30 minutes to get to their high school. And so I bought one for 3 years for all of them to use, just leased it. Turns out that was kind of a waste of money since I spent like $10,000 in a lease that I didn't really get a car for. But anyway, that's a whole learning process. And truly, I entered into the contract planning to buy the car, but we just didn't like it. Like it was very cheaply made, but it was a Corolla. That's probably why. Now, this summer, actually, we purchased a used Camry, a Toyota Camry. That's like a 2003 or 4 or something. It's older. And I love that little car. It's one of my kids drives it. And I love that little car. And it's comfortable. It's nicer. The Camry, nicer. So I'm a little more open to the Toyotas. A little more open to them. But okay, let's go back to the college thing. I'm going to ramble. So feel free to have me on your desktop while you're working. I think we need to turn on the furnace or the heater in here. Oh, here comes the FedEx guy. You guys remember when we cheered on the UPS? Oh, it's stopping behind me, actually. You can't see it. Here, let's do it. Let's turn it around. Can you see it? I don't think you can see him. He's right behind me. Oh no, it's too bright. It's too bright. Can't see it. There's a FedEx guy behind me. He's delivering the goods. I'm gonna turn on the heat a little bit. It's chilly in here. My fingers getting a little chilly here. Okay, so let me tell you my story about my graduate thing, right? School, college, education, because I'm avoiding filling out the FAFSA because the financial aid forms are like a big deal. You have to fill them out correctly or you could screw things up and not get money or even scholarship stuff or whatever, I guess. And so it's like a whole thing. And whatever. So it makes me nervous every time I do it. I've done it like 3 times for my kids so far. No, twice for my kids, a couple times for myself. And it stresses me out. It has to do with money and debt, and it stresses me out. Oh, the FedEx guy's turning. Let's see if you can see him. Can you see him? Oh, go FedEx, go FedEx, go FedEx, go. See, it's turning around now. Turning around. I mean, I must be in this special spot. I'm actually in a parking spot, but he had to kind of turn around on the little alley behind me, which is fine. That's what they do, right? They're good at that. But hubby and I were talking today about like things we look back on in our, gosh, I cannot get this lighting, really sucks. Just a second. I'm not very good at this. Okay, that's not too bad, right? Okay. So we were talking about things that we, no, that is bad. Gosh, you guys, I need like a little clip thing or something. Let's see. No, okay. All right. I don't care. So we were talking about things that, like thinking back to that time in our lives when you're like 18 and like the whole world is ahead of you, you know? And really every time in our lives is like that, can be like that for us, where the whole world is ahead of us. All we have to do is decide that. All we have to do is decide. Now, granted, at this point in my life, I'm not going to become like an Olympic athlete or, you know, probably not like a musician in a band and tour or anything like that, because, well, I'm not really interested in those things anyway, but I'm just, you know, maybe the ship has sailed on some of that stuff. But most of it, I think it's all about our perspective. So we were having the conversation and I said, one of the things that I wished I would have completed in my life so far would be my graduate degrees. I have started and stopped graduate degrees. I'm trying to remember how many times. I think 3 or 4. So let's see. I went to school right after I got married the first time. I was out of college for about a year and a half or so, and I went to school, started my master's, and it was alternative dispute resolution and public administration that I worked on. I took like 6 classes, which sounds like a lot, but it wasn't that many. There was way more to do. And I was like kind of not really feeling the vibe of it, you know? I was fortunate because I was at a time when like companies paid for that. And I was working in a government agency, and they paid a huge chunk toward tuition reimbursement if you did well in your class and stuff, because it helped them, right? Like in theory. And so that was helpful. So of course I did that. I took those classes then. And then I stopped when I was like, I don't think I want to do this forever. I wanted to have kids and do all that. So I just stopped doing that. It was like, work was enough as it was. And then later on, I went back to school and took a class again in public administration and nonprofit management. Went to the same college. Did I go to the same college for that one? Oh, I did go to the same college for that one. Because my idea was to potentially go into education at that time, like to become a teacher. After I had my first kid, my first child, she really changed things, man. Boy, did she ever. I thought, I want to be a teacher because that seems like something that would be you would be able to make an impact. Here comes the FedEx guy again. There they are. And it is a guy, just being clear on that. FedEx person, but it was a guy. And I thought teachers make really big impacts on people, and so I wanted to try to do something different. So I thought, well, maybe I'll, go into education. And then my husband at the time wasn't really keen on that because I was making really good money in my job, and he was in law school at the time. And so I was supporting us, and so I couldn't really, it didn't make sense to him, and it's true. It didn't make sense to me, really, if I thought about it with my brain. Why would you spend a bunch of money to go to college to change careers and make way less money and spend a lot of money to go to the college? It just did not make sense financially. And he's right. And that was true. The facts were the facts, man. And so I just didn't do it. I kind of put a pin in it and decided, all right, I'm just not going to do this. So I took another class, and that was it. And then I was like, no, I just can't go back and just finish up my other degree when my heart wasn't in it, just, ugh. And then the financials part was changing then too, because it was a different place I worked, different government agency, and they changed the rules on the financial aid, tuition reimbursement and all that. They weren't really doing that anymore at that point anyway. And so then when I was going through my divorce, I actually enrolled in school again, different university this time, fresh start, different university, and was working on was it organizational development? No. It was human development, a human development degree. And I took 2 classes, and then I was in my divorce process. So I was just teetering on the edge of like separation at that point. And then I started the separation during the first class, and then the second class I was in it. So then I was like, I can't do this while I'm going through divorce. And so anyway, so that was a good reason not to do that, to finish that up. And then the third time was an online university. I went to an online a couple of years ago, 2016, I think it was. 16, I think it was. I went, was it 16? 17, I can't remember. That's because of Prince. That's Prince's push. So when I started doing channeling publicly and I started sharing it, I was working primarily with one major client, which was Prince in the afterlife. And he was the one that, through my work with him, he encouraged me. He's like, you got to follow your dreams. Like, you can't just let this go. You got to find out if this is something you really want. Like, you're in a good place right now. Why wouldn't you just see what happens? What do you want? You want to make an impact? You want to help kids? You want to help families like you were helped? Because we had struggles in my family. I had, one of my children was in special education. We didn't know if there was autism or if it was impulsivity, if it was sensory processing, if it was at that point Asperger's, there was so many people, therapists, occupational therapy, physical therapy. There was so much stuff going on at that time that I had been through, like, one-on-one and on my own. And thank God I have a wonderful, supportive husband now who came into my life during a challenging time of my life and helped support me, and like emotionally, like, hey, you're making good choices, do the best you can. You can't be everything to everyone, but really struggled. And then I got to a point in life then, like 2016, I revisited this whole experience that I had with my personal family and knowing what a big deal it was to have people who were highly caring, social workers, occupational therapists at schools, caseworkers at schools, and elementary school occupational therapy, physical therapists, speech therapists, autism specialists, behavioral specialists, special ed, paraprofessionals that actually cared, like really cared, weren't just there just to get a paycheck. Because believe me, when I went into schools and started working in schools, there are people that are just there because they don't want to work at the box store down the street or the grocery store. They don't want to do that. And they want better benefits. So they work at the school instead when they're really not skilled in working with kids with challenges, kids that have difficulty expressing themselves, kids that are hard to be around sometimes because it's hard to understand their needs and to meet them, and it's really a gift when you find somebody who's really good at that. And I know because we had some wonderful people in my experiences with my kids, and I felt like, I'm going to get really emotional. I felt like I wanted to pay back and give back and show up for somebody else's kid so that they didn't have to stress out because during their workday they didn't have to be sad or scared about how their kid was going to be misunderstood by somebody else or mistreated because they seem like they're a big jerk and they're just defiant, but really they're sad, or really they have struggles expressing themselves. They just don't know how to communicate in society's norms. But because I have intuitive skills and get energy and have been through that personal experience myself, having a child that had so many challenges and I just wanted to give back and be there so somebody else could just relax, you know? I just wanted to do that. And so I decided I would work in a school for a while and see what it was like. So I took a temporary job as a substitute paraprofessional or a teaching assistant, teacher's aide. And a small, tiny little farm school hired me. I had to drive like a half hour just to get there. And I was only there for like 2 hours, like 3 times a week. That was it. But I did it just for the experience of it. And they took a chance on me because I didn't have experience. But I wrote, like in my cover letter, when I called and talked to the principal and stuff, I told them what I wanted to do, that I wasn't there for the money. I wasn't there for any kind of attachment, for any, I didn't need the job, that I wanted to be in the environment. And that's what that's why I wanted it. And so they took a chance on me. And I had the most incredible, amazing experience. It was hard and it was amazing. And the other 2-3 people, professionals that were in that room, the special ed teacher, the preschool teacher, and the other paraprofessional, were amazing people. I was so lucky. And I thought, this is awesome. I need to do this. I need to do this. So I signed up, found an online school that I interviewed schools. It was weird. When you're older and you know that you have buying power, it's great to talk to colleges, because I'm like, yeah, no, I don't think you really meet my full range of needs. I think I'm going to shop around. Thanks. And I can't, you know, it's like, I'm paying for this. I totally have the gift of perspective, right? You guys can totally relate. I know some of you could relate, right? So I did. I started school and I took, how many classes? 4 or 5? I can't remember how many. I started filling in as a substitute paraprofessional in local schools by my house, and very different experiences. Vastly different. Dramatically different. Schools are different because people are different. Teachers are different. Mm-hmm. And that's not necessarily a good or a bad judgment or value statement. It's just the truth. And we have choice as parents too. We can open enroll our kids. We can make different work choices so that we can drive them to different schools. Or, I mean, for the most part, I should say we have choices. Yeah, some people have the choice of, well, either I work and I pay my rent, and my kid goes to this school, which isn't great, or I quit my job, we're homeless, and kid can go to any school they want. You know, I understand that there's a lot of different degrees of choice. Let me just be clear, okay? But for me, I knew I had choice, and it became really obvious, not just choice of where I worked, it became really obvious to me that the school system was really messed up. And I am so glad that I didn't know that when my kids were little. But it also gave me this perspective to look back on all those the social workers that I worked with in the elementary school, in the middle school, the crisis worker in the middle school, high school that I worked with, for my family, my kids. Amazing people. I am talking amazing people in those jobs. And talk about frontline workers, they saved my family so much heartache because they provided additional support web structures that I couldn't have done this on my own, you know, and thankfully today, I mean, things are going pretty dang well and I'm very grateful, but things are different everywhere. And it was heartbreaking for me to realize that, to take off my rose-colored glasses and go, oh my gosh. I had a couple of substituting experiences where I was like, what? No, I'm never coming back here again. And if I knew anybody that had my kids here, I would be telling them to get them the hell out of there. I mean, it was just, am I overreacting? Maybe, yeah, but I'm a mom. Mama bear. Mm-hmm. So I had a lot of different experiences, and during that time I was going to school for my graduate. First it was early childhood special education. I really wanted to be what's called a parenting educator, but at that time, none of those things were online. Now, guess what? Everything's online. I'm like, oh my gosh, if I wanted to do that, I should jump on it quick and just go online. Because I wanted to help families, not just the kids, not just the parents, but the whole family unit. You know, that's what I really wanted to do. And so I did early childhood special education and early childhood education, where I would be licensed from like kindergarten or preschool through 3rd grade. But now, since that time, you guys, during that time when I was going through that, I was having like psychic readings. I was taking care of myself. I was trying to, because I could feel so much was changing around this whole thing about education and teaching and all that. And it turns out that the year after I started to go to school, like that, during that first year, like the first 6-7 months, everything started changing in our state as far as teacher licensure. And now all of a sudden, all these requirements weren't there anymore. There were different requirements. There was different ways to get licensed that were, it's way easier. I almost already have the qualifications without even finishing a degree, you know? So I'm like, what? So I stopped because it was all being in turmoil. And then I kept calling the state to ask, well, what are the requirements? And they said, well, we don't know yet. And there's 2 different licensing boards or people that make the rules. And the right hand didn't know what the left hand was doing because it was a time of change, and that happens. And so I'm like, I'm not going to waste my money going to college for something I don't need to go to college for, when by the time I graduate, I'm $30,000 in debt. And that's how much money I make the first year. Are you kidding me? Wasn't about the money. It was about having a career and also having a decent income, because it is about the money. When everybody's, I should be clear, whenever somebody says it's not about the money, it's always, money has to be a part of it. How much it costs you, how much you have to pay for it, education wise, how much you have to invest in time, how much money you're going to get back and you're going to get paid, because that's the only way oftentimes you can get your value assessed is by your pay, how much you make an hour, how much is it worth you to be there for $15 an hour versus at home helping your kid for $15 an hour. You know what I mean? Like, some people have and some people have more choice as far as that goes. You can't really decide that, as I'm trying to be honest here and nice about it too, is like, you can't, not everybody can just say, hey, I'm just going to quit my job and just be home because I don't want to get paid X amount of money. It's not about that. But the teaching profession, highly underpaid, highly underpaid. And they can't even really teach because they're doing behavior management most of the time. We need to have social workers in classrooms. We need to have skills for life skills in elementary classrooms. We need to stop learning about stuff they're never going to learn about or need to know about, and focus on things that actually they might be excited about for the future, and creative and innovative things, and stuff that gives them flexibility and freedom and decision-making, problem-solving skills instead of pressure-solving skills, because that's basically what happens. It's just really just crazy. So I stopped doing that. I can't say that I'm never going to go back, because I told my husband, I said, I wish I would have just finished the degree so I would just have it. But then, if you're not going to work in special education, why would you have a special education degree? In fact, I decided at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go general. I'm just going to do preschool, because I thought that was the funnest age, is working with the preschool kids. So much fun. So much fun. And you get to play all day. Like, I loved it. I actually did also during that time, I'm going to give you a little heads up or background if you don't know. I hurt my shoulder during that time too, 2017, I think it was. I injured my shoulder, and then I injured it again in lifting a child that I was working with out of a wheelchair. And it was like a repetitive stress thing, because I had to do it every day, like multiple times during like a 2.5 hour time period. I had to do it like 4 or 5 times by myself, lifting and all that. It was so much on my body. I just couldn't, it was very painful. I finally I had to quit the job because it was too much. I went to a orthopedic surgeon, and he said, you just need time to let this heal a bit before we can decide what we need to do about it. You can't just get it fixed. You can't just do surgery. It's gonna wear and tear, Bridgette. He's like, it's gonna be a problem for a long time. I'm like, oh, great. So I stopped doing that. But looking back, I go, gosh, I really wish I had my master's, like a graduate degree, just because I like school, like education. Like I liked writing, I liked learning. It was pretty awesome. You know, I like that. So if any of you are in school, this is a long vlog. Holy crap. If any of you are in school, I wish you the best. I gotta get home. I gotta go home and I gotta do some of that FAFSA filling out. Now I'm switching to water now. I didn't realize this was gonna be story time with Bridgette. Story time with Bridgette. Oh, you guys. Well, I hope you're having an okay day and a start to your week. Today is the new moon. Energy for the new moon is always about... A lot of times for me, the new moon is tricky. I can be much more impacted by the new moon energy than I can by the full moon, especially as of late. The last few cycles of the moon, I've noticed the new moon cycles have been a lot harder on me. And I think right now at the end of the year, and we're looking down solstice in a week, it's a lot of clearing energy coming up. And so I think that that's part of why the stories share. That's part of why I need to get out some of this stuff. It needs to come out of me, get out of me. There are other ways to do this besides talking to someone. You can talk to someone, a friend, a counselor, etc. You can write about it. You can write in your journal. Your journal is a great place to just purge and just get the energy out by writing about it, talking it through on your journal. It helps so much. You know, your spirit guides are watching you. Your spirit guides are helping you process. I look robotic, don't I? You're scared. Just easily distracted. Your spirit guides are helping you to process that information. And so they're with you. You're not by yourself. You're not talking to yourself when you're writing and you're thinking about this. Maybe you go on a walk and you think about it and you let the energy come out. It's really important to get it out. I didn't realize how much all these different steps were intertwined for me, like my family, my kids, what I'm doing right now with my son, doing the FAFSA, right? Getting that financial piece out, which ties into myself going to school when I went to school and the financial impact on me it had, and having this sense of like the cycles continuing without a completion for me personally, but it's almost like it's being passed down to, here comes another FedEx, passed down kind of through the web of the family in a way, you know? So I have to think a little bit more for myself about what this means for me and for how I want it to help frame the next parts of my life going forward in the future. So specifically through my business and my work in the world, I think that would be, clearly teaching is a thing for me. It always has been, everything I've been in. And so that's the part, that educational piece is the part I embrace, you know? And being able to make connections with people like you just watching right now. Like I'm talking to you and I feel you. Whether you're watching this live or you're watching it another time or you're listening to it while you're making the brown and the hamburger for the taco night you're having or whatever it is. Or the Zoom call you're not actually paying attention to right now, which you probably should. You really probably should be paying attention to. This connection, it's very real and alive, and it feels honorable and honest and authentic, so authentic. And sometimes authenticity is raw, you know, sometimes it's not pretty and articulate and well-rounded and edited and copy and paste and moved around and sounds perfect. It's not that. That's not what real life is, you know? I wouldn't say I have regrets about the educational kind of touch and go, start and stop. And I don't feel like incomplete because I don't have a degree as far as like an advanced degree, like a graduate degree. It's more so that I like learning. I do. I like being in that environment. I like being, if I'm really, really authentic, honest, raw, and real, I like being reminded that I'm smart. I'm serious. Like, you guys guys probably know this, like when you're in high school, that's not really an accurate reflection of how smart you are. It's how well you can study and follow the rules in the system. Because I never studied or anything, and I still got B's and stuff. I mean, I got good enough grades to get into college, and I screwed around in college a little bit because I didn't really know how to study, because I didn't really study much in high school, but I wasn't in any of those advanced classes or anything like that. And I did my homework, I did my stuff, and I could write pretty well, so that helps a lot. If you can write, it helps, because that helps all your other classes. And so I never really put a lot of pressure on myself, so I didn't really think I was smart. Like, I just thought, it's just what everybody just gets by, you know? And so when I went to college for the first time, I went to college thinking that maybe I didn't have what it took to graduate. Like, I didn't know if I was actually going to graduate. I didn't even realize it was possible for me to graduate until I was just entering my 4th year of college. And then I think I realized, oh my God, I'm kind of good at some of this stuff. Wow, my grades are good. Wow, I have really good ideas. And yeah, I can see patterns in things that other people don't see. And I can talk about that. And yeah, okay, I got my act together, man. I got something going on here. Okay, I think I can graduate. I could actually have a career. I could have a career. Oh my gosh, I could be like one of those people, those go-to people. And I did. And it worked out for me. So I appreciate that. That was kind of cool. So it worked out. You know? And so I think, if I'm honest, I like being reminded that I'm smart. Not just like common sense, because let's be honest. Well, common sense isn't so common. I've seen that meme. Common sense is not so common anymore. And I don't have a lot of that. Sometimes I'm just like, what? Like, I'm in a different world when I'm feeling, sensing, seeing stuff that I'm like, what? Have to be reminded to focus sometimes. Yes. But I like being reminded that I'm intellectually smart. I like that, you know, it feels good for me to know that, because I think a lot of times people that work with spirit or work with energy, people who are in the intuitive arts, let's say that, I think that there can be this kind of misrepresentation that that's either you're that or you're this. Like, either you're book smart or you're people smart, or you're smart and successful in your work, or you're how do I say this? It seems like there's a creative, artistic kind of almost like a bias where there's a lot of judgment about creative or artistic people, like the starving artist stereotype, that kind of thing, you know? And all the creative people I know are the most ingenious, amazing, expressive people. Yet when you meet them on the street like this, you might not have any idea. They're not driving the bright blue car. You know, they're expressive through their soul, through their energy, through their essence. And that's amazing to me. I love that. What I don't love is that the intuitive kind of spiritual workplace kind of stuff, it's almost like you have to be really weird. There's this, you gotta be really weird to be so special. It's no, are you kidding me right now? Lady in the grocery store next to you is totally reading your aura, let me just tell you. She is. She's deciding. How close to get to you before that whole 6 foot away from people thing. Oh yes, there's a lot of spiritual people that don't play a part, you know. Same with intellectual and smart people. They don't play the part either. They don't necessarily have an advanced degree or even any kind of a degree or education formally, but they're really freaking smart, you know. Seems like we kind of fall short on recognizing that expressive potential of people, you know? Interesting. Interesting. This has been a very philosophical conversation. I think I need another coffee. I am not kidding you, people. I need another coffee. It's already 3 o'clock my time, Central Standard Time. I need to get home and start that FAFSA thing. You guys are just taking so much of my time today. Okay. So I'll have to go back and talk to the person that this was supposed to go to. And I'm going to tell you right now that I have no desire to go back to the post office until after Christmas, but we'll see. This is why this is why my services are usually just over the phone. Easy. When you start selling stuff, it gets a little more complicated. I don't like that. Complicated. Oh. All right. Well, I better go. I best go before my husband sends out a search party since I've been gone for a long time. Thank you so much for being here, for popping in, listening to my story share. I hope you're having a good day. I hope this caffeine kicks in. I know it's a surprise. I haven't had it for a while, so I'm hoping it kicks in pretty darn soon here. And I can get me through maybe some Christmas carols, some Christmas movies perhaps, which I have been sharing on Bridgette Inspired on Instagram. I've been sharing some of my Christmassy stuff that I've been doing. Get me in the spirit and stuff. Happy new moon today. And good luck connecting with the energy. If it's your jam, good for you. It's getting me right in the heart today and right in the gut. So thanks for listening, you guys. Like, I trust you. That's why I share with you my stuff too, because I do the work. I do the work. I'm doing my work. I'm doing my work. I have a coach. I have a counselor. I'm willing to do my work. I'm willing to feel like crap and get yucky if I need to get messy and dirty and roll up my sleeves and do my work. Are you? Any coach, any psychic, any life coach, any healer you go to had better be up to that quality of caliber, because you deserve that. You deserve it. I deserve it. So do you. You deserve it too. So I'm doing my work. So I'm a little raw. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. All right, ladies and gents, thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Mwah! Sending you lots of love today. Cheers, you guys. Bye now. Take care.